So I didn't technically write a speech as such, mostly because it seems like things have been shifting so quickly in the past couple of weeks that anytime I would kind of go to sit down and try to write something, it would immediately strike me that anything I tried to write might not make sense depending on how any number of intangibles shook out, especially as it pertains to the election in the States. Really didn't even feel comfortable even thinking there might be a result until about Friday. And then just, I think it was just yesterday, the city announced a pilot project building tiny homes for homeless veterans, which I think is probably a great idea. Obviously still remains kind of to be seen how that's going to shake out, but I think that it's at least very hopeful that they're at least making the attempt. Fingers crossed that something does come out of that, and I think that it's going to be very important for grassroots groups like ours around the city to kind of be holding the city's feet to the fire a bit to make sure that actually does pan out as effectively as we hope it will. And I'm sure as a lot of people on city council also hope it will. I think though that the kind of theme of everything being just so up in the air right now really, I think, kind of gives us a bit of a path forward, because right now, with everything being up in the air, I think we've got an opportunity to kind of control how it all comes back down again. I think that nothing right now is guaranteed, and particularly with it now looks like probably new administration in the south. The theme is going to be, I think, the next couple of years we are going to have to fight for everything that we want. But at the same time, I think that what's changed, and I think that what we should all kind of take hope in, is that we kind of are in a position where we feel like we can actually be fighting for what we want and not just kind of fighting to stop whatever the awful thing that come up with next. And I think that right now, globally, we are probably in the best position to actually put forth what we want to see rather than just fighting against what we don't want to see. I think probably in the last 4 years, if not possibly in the last 10. And I think that the significance of today, in the midst of this pandemic, is sort of deeply important, because it's not really a surprise that we've heard a lot of people who have lived through wartime sort of comparing, making some degree of comparison between living through a pandemic and living through wartime. And I think that it's really worth noting that there's sort of been a very positive correlation between the people who I think are sort of the most apt to, call for more military action worldwide and call for more and more, and kind of look very casually at the notions of dropping bombs and the notions of waging war against what turns out sometimes to be primarily civilian populations. There's been a very positive correlation between those people and the people who we really have seen the past 6-8 months or so not really being willing to make what I think are amounting to really a significantly diminished version of the sacrifices that people would make during wartime, particularly during World War II. I mean, I think that, being asked to wear a mask and being asked to stand 6 feet apart is ultimately nothing compared to, growing victory gardens or dealing with food rationing or being afraid that the Nazis were going to bomb you into oblivion. And it's really weird that the people who seem to take a sort of casual attitude toward, where can we invade next, where should we bomb next, are the people who really are showing right now that they don't really have a grasp on what it's like to make the sort of sacrifices at home that are required of people who are living through, being in an active war zone, or even just being at risk of actually losing a war, like we were during World War II. Ultimately, thankfully, that shook out pretty well. But for a while, it was touch and go who actually would win. And I think that right now we're very much in a position as a society to sort of more greatly appreciate the sacrifices that were made military and also by civilian populations during World War II. And I think that, right now would be the best time to take those lessons to heart, during and after the pandemic, and I think really to respect that. That's about all I got.